You know when you're having a cocktail and you think to yourself, what the heck is in this? It tastes weird but amazing. Well, those are botanicals, and I've got 3 that will blow your mind. Hey guys, and welcome to Gabe's Liquor Cabinet. As you guys know, I love making cocktails inspired by history, and as a result, I have gotten a lot of different liquors. Over 150 bottles are in my collection, so I decided to take you guys along the journey with me to explore the collection in totality. Today I have 3 different botanical forward drinks in front of us. We have AALBORG, we also have JÄGERMEISTER, and we have CHARTREUSE. They hail from 3 different countries, and all 3 of them feature anise as the most predominant botanical or spice among all of the flavors that make up these particular liquors. So I've used several of these, specifically these 2 in drinks, and today I'm actually going to be trying the AALBORG for the first time, so you guys are going to be right there along with me. So let's get into it. The first cocktail, or not cocktail, first liquor I want to try and talk to you guys about is Chartreuse. Now, with Chartreuse, it comes from France. It is a botanical made of many different botanicals. I think it's over 50 different ingredients that make up this delicious sugar-forward, almost anisette. It's not entirely an anisette. Anisettes are usually just anise pods that are, you know, heavy with either schnapps or some sort of cordial, anything with a heavy amount of sugar and low alcohol content. But with our Chartreuse, this is 55% alcohol by volume, and Chartreuse comes in 2 different variations. There's green, which is in my hand, and also behind me there's yellow. The yellow is different from the green in the fact that it actually has honey, wild honey, and saffron, which makes it about I think $8 to $10 more expensive per bottle. It's worth it though. Both of these are worth it. They're absolutely fantastic to try, and certainly worth buying if you guys ever get the chance. But let's get into it. So with the Chartreuse, I'm gonna open it up here. I've had it before, so this is sticking a little bit because there's a high sugar content in this, right? So you definitely want to use this as a mixer. If you're going to have it on its own, I would suggest diluting it down with water or ice, just because of how heavy it could be. But it's so flavorful on its own. So let's pour some out here. And immediately you see a beautiful green color. I'm going to show you guys here. It's already featured in the bottle. The bottle is clear, but the liquid is a slight palish green, and that's also shown here with this shooter. On the nose, you can smell all of the botanicals. It's like walking into like a flower shop, honestly. I don't know if you guys have ever smelled like Easter lilies. It's one of my favorite scents. That and like jasmine, and so many other different flavors. There's so many components and ingredients in this singular liquor, and it's fantastic. Now, this is made by the Carthusian monks in France. Historically, they started it, and they continue to make it to this very day. It's not a cheap bottle of liquor. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It ranges anywhere from 65 to about 75 bucks. Sometimes I think even 80, depending on where you're shopping. So, but trust me, it's worth it. Let's give it a try. Woo! And it is 55% alcohol by volume. That burns. It's a delicious burn though. Man, right up front, all the way to the back. I would probably let this sit on your tongue for a little bit. Has a tremendous numbiness factor immediately. So you lose a little bit of the feeling in your tongue just because of the high alcohol content. It stings a little bit at the front end, and then as it goes back, it just continues that wave of sting. Hits the throat. It's really kind of burning right here, and then it kind of carries all the way down as it goes into your chest. The flavor is fantastic. Subtly bitter, very sweet, overall refreshing. Like I said, if you diluted this and drank it straight up, it'd be wonderful. There's a traditional way of making absinthe, which I'll also review at another time. That is a great way, I think, that you can enjoy this too. Usually you drip water or the absinthe over like a spoon of sugar or something along those lines. I'll show you guys in the future, but this is fantastic. I've actually used chartreuse in a couple of my drinks. Not so much the green chartreuse, but I have used the yellow chartreuse in the Shot That Burned the World and also in the Porcelain Thrones. That's a great episode about the invention of the toilet. Give that a check. But a fantastic, wonderfully rememberable, that's not a word, wonderfully memorable little liquor there. The next alcohol we're going to get into is Jägermeister. Jägermeister hails from the beautiful country of Germany. I have a lot of family heritage in Germany, so I'm a little partial, but not everybody is a big fan of Jägermeister. If you ever watch hockey, especially in playoff time, they normally do advertisements for Jägermeister on the hockey games, and they always say how great it is when it's served chilled. And it really is, because this has a tart anise flavor, usually. I've used this in a couple of my cocktails. One of them was Berlin Baller, and I also did another one with the Steel Balloon. Steel Balloon being about the Hindenburg, the Berlin Baller being about the Berlin Wall, and it really has a nice balanced tart flavor that combines so well with other ingredients. I think it's wonderful. It's used in several different shots. Like I said, not everybody likes Jägermeister. I think it's really good actually, because the anise isn't too strong with this, and it's got a sweet tanginess that makes it so unique. It also has a number of different ingredients here. It is a botanical like these other two, but the tartness of it I think is the most memorable differentiation from other liquors that are like it. When you can look at it, it has a deep brown color. It comes in this wonderful green bottle and that iconic deer with the cross over its head, but off the nose, a little bit more grassy, not nearly as sweet, not nearly as sweet smelling either. You know, I'm not getting like notes of, you know, sweet flowers like lilies or like jasmine, and not saying that those are necessarily in the many botanicals that make up chartreuse, but this one is a little bit more like walking through a meadow. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a little bit more savory, but let's give it a try. Much smoother. Doesn't burn nearly as much as the chartreuse, but we are missing 20% alcohol by volume with this particular liquor versus this particular liquor. This is 35%. I'm sorry, this is 55% and this is 35%. So there's a major difference there in terms of how much potency we're going in with our liquor. Also, flavor-wise, up front, there is a lot of flavor. It's not hitting all of your taste buds all at once. It's coming in waves. A little bit more of a bitter aftertaste that you would get with the chartreuse. It hits kind of the sides of the tongue and towards the back of the tongue, right? As it hits the bitter receptors, it's kind of awakening those to some of the more bitter notes in the Jägermeister. And even not as a cold shot, not even served chill, I think this is a delightful little liquor that you can try, especially if you like botanicals, especially if you like more savory drinks. This works well. There's a high enough sugar content, however, that if you wanted to add it to more sweeter cocktails, whether that's, you know, you want to add it with Irish cream, which I've done before, or if you wanted to add it with rum or tequila or vodka, which I've done in the Berlin Baller, it will also work well in those too. It takes a little bit more of a backseat to the sugary, more heavy alcohols, but it still has a lasting flavor in there, and it's very refreshing. So that is wonderfully unique and quite delightful. And there's a reason why Jägermeister is still so popular, right? You know, it's not the most popular brand out there, but it has made a wonderful legacy for itself, and there's clear reason why this is fantastic to drink, in my opinion. The last one we're going to get into is the AALBORG. Now this is AALBORG TAFFEL Aquavit. Aquavit is specifically what this is, and Aquavit is another botanical that's normally anise forward. This hails from the country of Denmark, and it's actually the first time I've opened it. I opened it right before I actually turned on the camera here so that the top would become easy to screw off, but this will be the first time that I've tried it. Right on the nose immediately. Similar to the Jägermeister, it has more of a grassy note, but there are some clearly established notes of almost licorice and anise. Not so forward with anise as like these two. Like I said, the licorice fruit that I think is in as part of the botanicals that make up Aquavit very much is present here. Now this one is a little bit clearer. I actually think this is far clearer than this one is. I'm actually gonna pour it again because I think this has been tainted a little bit with the Jägermeister. Right off the bat though, there's a clear difference between this one and the other ones. Very clear difference. Yeah, there you can see it's a much more clear liquor. So it's not very brown or golden at all. That was just after product of the Jägermeister. But if we smell it, berry grassy, licorice, subtle hints of anise, lots of other botanicals, but this is very savory and quite exciting. I think this would be fantastic in a complex cocktail that has more savory notes. This would go really, really well, I think, with some peppers, actually. As long as it's a singular pepper and you weren't doing a lot to like amplify it way too much. Would it go well with like a St. Elmo's Fire, which has cayenne in it? I think that's too overpowering. I don't think you would actually get the subtle flavors of this, but if you added, like, if you steeped Aquavit with a little bit of jalapeno, yeah, I think that would work. I think that would add some heat to his already complex flavor profile. I think that would be wonderful. And then you can make something really quite unique with this. That may be a cocktail idea for the future on here, but so wonderfully grassy, so complex. Let's give it a try. Now this one is 45% alcohol by volume. So we have 55%, 35%, then 45%. So there's a clear differentiation between how heavy an alcohol percentage we have and the difference between the sugar content. This is the heaviest sugar content by far. This is second, this is third, at least to the tongue. This is the smoothest, I think, personally. This one has a sweet tang, which works really, really well, but with a bitter aftertaste, far more pronounced than the Aquavit, which is actually quite surprising. A slight burn at the top of the throat here, traveling down. It's like a nice welcoming warmth. It's not nearly as upfront as the Chartreuse, and it's not nearly as muted as the Jägermeister. This one has a personality all on its own, and it's quite delightful. I could easily drink this straight up. A very good sipping Aquavit if you guys like that flavor profile. The thing with botanicals is that they have so many flavors that you could drink them on their own and that would be fine. You could drink them over ice and that would be wonderful. But if you add them to a cocktail, you're adding so many different flavors to that cocktail, and you can just increase the complexity and increase the memorability, not memorability, but the impact that your cocktail may have. So if you guys want to make a really unique drink that will have a long-lasting effect on your friends, at least in their memories, then I think using any one of these or any one of the botanicals is really, really good. Definitely try any one of these. Let me know which cocktails you think these would go well with. Try them out for yourselves. Add them to some cocktails. Let me know in the comments. Shoot me some of your some pictures of your different cocktails. Let me know what you guys think. But of course, as always with any of these botanicals, remember that history is always better with a drink. Cheers, guys.